We are sitting right where I negotiated a sub-2 transaction. The seller, Sherrilyn, just gave us an amazing testimonial, and we closed on the property. We gave her all the money that we promised her. We closed on the transaction and helped save her from foreclosure. We helped rebuild her credit, and we did all of the things that we promised right here in this appointment. If you guys want to watch that appointment, we'll put a link down in the description below or maybe somewhere on the screen. But I wanted to give you a seller's testimonial. I wanted to give you what a seller says about subject to and what a seller looks like after they've sold a house subject to, because so many people will DM me and they'll say, why would anybody let you take over their mortgage? You must have manipulated to them and lied to them and done whatever. Actually, the story of this deal is so incredibly good. We have a playlist of the entire story down in the description below. But this seller was actually manipulated by a real estate agent and manipulated by two other real estate investors who offered her cash. They offered her cash, they manipulated her, they put memorandums on the property. I had to spend $3,000 out of our investors' money. I don't use my own money when I buy deals, but I brought an investor to the table. We had to spend $3,000 to solve problems for the seller that cash investors, wholesalers, and real estate agents caused. I want you to hear that seller's testimonial, Sherrilyn. After we contracted with her, every word I promised her as I sat in this chair a couple of months ago came to fruition. And I hope this helps you understand that every seller that we do a subject to and a seller finance transaction with is always benefited and always gets way more money than any cash offer anybody could ever give them. If you guys are thinking about selling your house subject to, please email me or my team at deals@pacemorby.com, or let Molly know, the person who runs my organization, molly@pacemorby.com. You're looking to sell your house. We'd love to do business with you. We'd love to help you out of your payments, save you from foreclosure, whatever it is that you're going through. Please let us know. We'd love to help you out in the future.
Awesome. Hey, I just signed all the paperwork. It looks like I think we're
Me
closing.
too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now?
I'm here in St. Louis with my folks. And the notary was very sweet and wonderful, talked me through everything. And my dad had a procedure this morning. And so just really grateful, just, everything's going well. Good news. And I'm in a position now where I can able to, support them like I want to. And that's really because you did what you said. You kept your word, and your staff worked hard to keep your word. And even though we ran into a bunch of hiccups, I'm just grateful. I'm so very grateful.
It's interesting. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes on a deal that you don't get to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think a couple of them, if I could go back and talk about the things that were probably challenging on your side, is that when my team found out about the previous people that were interacting with you, I think it was like some illegal deed transfer that you had taken care of.
It was a fraudulent quitclaim deed back in 2022. And I thought it was handled. I went to a lawyer and everything, and I thought it was handled. I was a little bit leery when all he wanted to do was a quitclaim deed, but he got an affidavit and all of this. So I thought, oh, okay. 2 years later, it's holding up my life, Yeah,
it's interesting. We find out about it. My team doesn't communicate with me on all the things, right? I'll go work with you. I'll determine if there's a way for us to help the seller in your situation. I pass it on to my team, and then you text me and you go, hey, your team isn't communicating with me. Will you let me know what's going on? I'm like, oh my gosh, it's very unlike my team, which I'm sure you liked working with Shelly and Molly and everybody. I'm sure it was fine.
Yeah.
There were times where they weren't communicating. So your situation was really interesting. You had 2 memorandums and an illegal deed transfer on your property that I think ended up costing us about $3,000 in like legal work and some other things to get those things taken care of.
Yeah.
And my team comes to me about a week ago. And this is a part you don't know about, but my team comes to me about a week ago and they go, hey, we're going to call her, the seller, Sherrilyn, and go, hey, we're going to cancel this. We're not going to close this transaction.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
And I said, well, why? And they said, well, because this is problematic. It's taking a lot of time. We have other opportunities. I go, no, guys, she's in a situation. We cannot just abandon this situation because of things that were outside of our control. They're in our control now. We didn't cause them, but they're
No.
in our control. I said, we need to fix them. And so the team goes, really? Okay, let's do it. And they go to work, they get it fixed. It took about an extra week. And then yesterday, this was another thing was interesting that you didn't know about. But I think when we went through and we did the inspection on the property, Bo, who I doubt you've spoken to Bo on my team, right?
I did. No, I spoke with him.
Okay, so 2 days ago and
Early
yesterday.
on, like back in May, I spoke with him. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Bo calls me up and he goes, hey, we need to call the seller and we need to reduce how much cash he's getting and we need to reduce the sales price because we found out about this electrical thing and this other thing and this whatever. And I said, Bo, we're not adjusting anything. We're moving forward with exactly what we promised her. And he goes, yeah, but like there's things that are going to cost us more money. I go, Bo, just close the transaction, help the seller. She's in a situation with her parent. She's in a situation with other stuff. So I'm so glad that we got it all done. But more importantly, I'm glad that we were able to get you everything that we originally promised you, even with all the road bumps in the way.
You are a man of integrity, and your team, that's why I called you, because I heard a testimony like the one I'm giving. And that's why I called you, because I need help. You know what I'm saying? I need help. I need somebody who's going to, if nothing else, just be honest with me, you know, because I've already been lied to. I've already been stolen from. So just tell me what it is. And you went above and beyond that, you and your team. And I cannot thank you enough. Cause like, I'm just over here like, what can we do? What can we do? Because as you know, I've got, stuff going on here with my folks, and I'm trying to be two places, and it was getting crazy, but God is good.
I'm glad we got it done. And I'm glad we got it done. So notary's there, all good. My team wants me to ask 5 questions real quick, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
Okay. And then anytime you're in Phoenix, you send me a text. Let's grab dinner. Well, happy to hang out and continue an awesome relationship. Thank you again for selling your house to us. So grateful.
I'm grateful. I am the one who was grateful, and I would relish the opportunity to take you to dinner. This would be amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because, good people in this time, people are so divided and just against one another. And so to find somebody with integrity that's just good, that's just means good, is just such a beautiful thing. So from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of my whole family, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you doing a testimonial for me helps me in a lot of ways. And the reason being is because these types of sub 2 or subject to or seller finance transactions, they're not something that we learn in high school. They're not something we learn in college, and they're not something you see advertisements on TV about, right? Like Zillow is well known. Redfin is well known. Traditional real estate is pretty well known. And this is not well known. So first question I have for you is, what was your first thought about the type of deal that we brought to the table and offered you? What was your first initial thought? Was it like, oh my gosh, this has got to be a scam? Or did it make sense when I first originally explained it to you?
Well, what impressed me the most was that you explained it again, because I don't know if you remember, but when we were sitting, you first of all, you came over. You called when I asked you to call. I asked you to text me before you called. You came over, and you were very patient, and you explained it to me and explained it again. And then you said, I'm going to let you think about it. Just, call me back after you thought about it. In fact, don't even answer me today, and again, your integrity, because you weren't cocky. I think you came in, you went in the house, and you were just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And you had a piece of paper, and you just went through everything. This is what we can do. And I think you went through 3 different scenarios, and you said, let me know what you want to do. And you didn't talk down to me. You just talked to me. And that's everything. Because people just want to be respected and want the truth. Like, what is it? What's going on?
Right.
So I'm just grateful. I believed you because I had heard of you before. So,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had
I mean,
heard a testimony like
testimonials,
mine before.
testimonials help so much, which is why I
Mhm.
appreciate this. Cause when I'll call a seller, they don't know me. They've never heard of me before. And I say, hey, I can take over your payments on your mortgage. A lot of times sellers will go, that doesn't sound like it's legal.
Yeah, right.
Which is now it's interesting because we've gone through a title company. I got title insurance. We recorded at the
Mhm.
county recorder's office. You had a notary come and sign with you in person, just
Mhm.
like a regular transaction, but people are just so not used to it. So these
Yeah.
testimonials go a long way for me. So thank you so much. So second question,
Mhm.
what about this specific deal did you like the most? What was something that alleviated stress, pressure? What made you feel the most comfortable? Like maybe a burden went off your shoulders. Was it, hey, Pace caught up some of the payments, Pace, paid the closing costs. Pace's team was awesome. I get the number I wanted in the very beginning. I need all this money. It's my retirement.
All of the above, because I am retired, as I think I shared, and all of those things were an issue. Um, Income dropped because of retirement. I've had COVID. I'm supporting my aging parents. All of these things were becoming greater and greater stressors. So all those things you mentioned, the number that I wanted, and the fact that I'm hearing now that you were fixed about that you were like, no, I made this agreement. This is the agreement that we're going to keep. I'm like, does that even happen in 2024 anymore?
No, I
You
mean,
know,
even
um,
when people are buying things from me, it's like people wait to the very last minute to renegotiate. So like your emotion, like think about this. I could have like how we've been in escrow probably 3 months, right? Working through all the
since
title
May,
issues.
yeah, since the end of May.
So you had May, June, July, now August. So we're roughly 90 days. If I decided to 2 days ago, I could have called you. This is
Mhm.
rampant in the real estate industry. I could have called you and said, hey, Sherrilyn, this has been harder than we thought, more than we expected. And I need to reduce the purchase price and reduce how much cash you're getting and this, that, and the other. What could you have done? I mean, you could have canceled, but then you start from blank page.
Exactly.
And then I look at it,
I
I
was
go,
not in a position to go backwards. It's like, I just got to get done. And again, the fact that because you could have taken advantage of that.
yeah,
And the fact that you didn't is honorable. I
yeah.
mean that from my
There's a
soul.
guy.
I was a
There's,
teacher and I looked at students, and the one thing I complained to other people about was the fact that, back in the day, you could point to people out there that had integrity. You
yeah,
could, to students, you could say, listen, there are people. One of the things that I think kids have such a problem with now is the fact that they're looking around and everybody's scamming.
yeah,
Everybody's got some. And if you don't hear about it right away, you're waiting to hear it.
yeah,
And it's more than a breath of fresh air. It's like a revival. It's like a resurrection,
yeah,
really. Why can't we just be honest with each other? This is what it is. This is what I'm going to do. What I appreciate most is you said, this is what it is. This is what I'm going to do. And then you did it.
yeah,
like, imagine that somebody did what they said.
yeah,
You have no idea, because, well, the history. I was stolen from, I was lied to. I thought something that wasn't. And, here I am 2 years down the line, and it still isn't that, because it's hampering what I'm trying to do now. And I'm like, what?
yeah,
I thought I did what I was supposed to do.
right.
You know,
You hired a contractor, you got a home equity line of credit, you did all the things, you tried to renovate the property, and then you get a contractor that runs off with your money, and then somebody else does an illegal deed transfer. It's like you try and trust people, and then all of the stack gets bigger and bigger and bigger of problems against you. And you're like, what the heck do I do?
right,
And the
right.
tough thing too is like, let's think about this. If you sold on the traditional market, right? You hired an agent, you
Well,
put on the
I
market,
almost did. I almost signed with an
right?
agent, because remember, an agent. Well, I have a friend who's an
Yeah, yeah,
agent, and I almost did, but they were saying, "Well, we need you to do this and we need you to do that," and I just wasn't in a position to do those things.
Right.
I wasn't,
Plus,
you know?
if they put on the market and a buyer comes along and puts an offer on the house, whether
Mhm.
they give you less, they give you the same amount of money, not important for this question. But what would have happened if that buyer finds out about the illegal deed transfer or some of the other things that popped up along the way that you thought were
They'd
taken
have
care of?
run.
They
I'd
would
have
have
run.
ran. They wouldn't have gone 90 days. They would have found a different house. You cancel a contract. You're chasing your tail. So really, this was, at least in my opinion, this was the only way to do this type of transaction and to get you the money that not only you want, but you deserve, right? I mean, you've had this house since what, 2005?
2005. Yeah.
So this is part of your nest egg, right? This isn't just a purchase
Mhm.
price to you. For me, what I love about these types of transactions where you let me take over the mortgage and then we figure out what to do with your remaining equity. We make sure you get that over time. What I love about that is that I don't look at this house as a purchase price. I look at
Mhm.
this house as your retirement account, and how dare I try and take your retirement from you? Let's just figure out how we get it in your pocket.
Mhm.
And anybody else would have been like, "Oh, she doesn't need this money. Let's renegotiate her." So I'm glad
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, I need somebody else in my pocket, right? Come
Right.
on.
Yeah, I know.
I'm,
It's like
I'm,
the
again, integrity it's not a four-letter word, folks.
yeah.
And your picture ought to be in the dictionary underneath that, because
Thank you.
came to my house, you taught me some things, and you did what you said. And when I'm a little bit freer, I really want to, I already told Shelley that I want to, what I need is where I send the purchase price, because remember, you're supposed to sign a book for me.
Yes, of
Gave me a
course.
hat, but I want the book.
Okay, so a couple more questions. Was there a moment or a point in our conversation that you knew you wanted to do this deal with me, and what was it?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Once you came and explained everything, and you said you would meet the cash out to seller, that amount, I was just like, let's just do this right now. Because that was really, that's just the position I'm in right now. And I've got some things that have to be settled,
Right.
and I've got other pressures on. So once all of those other things, you were gonna put the loans to rest, or,
Yeah, yeah.
take over them, as you do. Once you said you were gonna meet that price, it was like, okay, we're done, but that's it. That's all I need to know. All
And
I needed.
you're okay from the very beginning of letting me take over your mortgage payments. You're okay with that?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
because you trusted me, or you think that the transaction, like, what was it primarily?
I trusted you, because remember, I had heard a testimony prior. That's why I called you. I
Right.
had a testimony, and it was like, and it, and I think I saw something on the internet. Maybe it was two things on the internet, but I was like, well, in the mouths of two or three, let every word be established. You know, I believed you. I
Okay.
believed you, and you came and you did what you said, and so there wasn't anything else to do but just believe you. You
Thank
know.
you. I appreciate that, because I have thousands of students all over the country, and they'll say stuff to me like, "Hey, Pace, I'm working with a seller, but it's really hard to get them to be okay with this type of transaction." I said, "Well, you've done these transactions before, right?" And they say, "Yeah, I have." But I keep running into the next seller having a problem with it. I go, "Have you asked the seller that you did a deal with last week to give you a testimonial to share with the next seller that helps you overcome
That's
that burden?"
everything. I think that's everything. I think when people
Yeah.
know you were consistent, consistency is everything. You're not new. What is it? You're not new to this. You're true to this.
Yeah.
You've done this. That's why I called you. I felt like I could trust you. And then when you came and you were, again, your whole demeanor is just respectful. It's just, I've got a solution. Are you open to hearing it? Here it is. Let me know what you want to do.
Hmm.
No pressure, no, You know, because you could have, like you said, you could have walked, you could have not come over. You could have said, I'm busy. I got other stuff going on. Because I think you did have other stuff going on.
Yeah, I
You had
hadn't
a
even
big
showered for
meeting,
the
I
day.
think the next
I said,
day or something.
Sherrilyn, or I was like, Sherrilyn, are you okay with me not showering and coming over to your house? And the other thing too, I want to point out for, maybe my students in the future or a seller in the future is when I went over to your house, I didn't bring a contract.
No.
I didn't bring anything but myself and a pen. And I asked you for a piece of paper and
Exactly. Yeah.
write out all your options. In fact, I tried to partner with you, and obviously a partnership was not a good fit for you. What was a better fit for you was something that I think over time you'll make less money on, but you still got the number you wanted.
Yeah.
And I gave you all the options, and then I left.
Yeah.
And everything they teach in sales school is you go with the contract. You do not leave the house without a signed contract. And it was the exact opposite, right?
I think it was exactly as you said. You came, and you complimented some things too, because I had put some effort, some investment into the house, and I think you complimented the floors and something.
Bathroom, showers, bathroom, the whole house. Actually, you did a great layout of the house. The bathrooms were top notch. You did a great job. I mean, for you, you look at that house with the contractor you had to deal with, and there's agony, pain, and maybe a little bit of resentment towards that. I went in there and I'm like, man, she did a great job. This house is cute.
Well, again, but you were honest about that. Like you didn't try to like lessen the value so you could negotiate something lower, or what I'm saying? You were just straight up. You were just honest, and you moved like that from, I mean, I've only ever known this posture, this pace. That's the only pace I know. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the only pace I want to know.
It's interesting. I've probably lost a lot of deals because of that, right?
Really?
I'm sure that, I don't know. I mean, I think that there's some sellers that react to that. I'm that person. Like if you come into my house and you start criticizing me just to try and get a better deal, I don't want to do business with people like that. But I think that there's deals in the past over the years and years I've done this. I remember my first deal very vividly. I buy a house from, ironically, a school teacher named Janie Munson. And she's retiring, kind of going through a similar situation. Hey, my income's reduced. I'm not working anymore. I got to go take care of these things up in a different state in Oregon. And when I went to meet her the first time, I didn't know how to value a property. I didn't know how to talk to a seller with like sales negotiation stuff.
So you were new.
I was so new. And I walk in and I'm so grateful. This was like one of the best lessons ever. I was so new. This was my first appointment, Sherrilyn, my first appointment in person. I was calling somebody like, what do I do? How do I value? What kind of offer do I give them? And the lady who was coaching me along, her name was Bethany. She said, just be yourself. And I said, okay, got it. So I go in the appointment, and Janie, the seller, she says, where's your clipboard? I don't have a clipboard. I don't know what you're talking about. And she says, well, the 15 people I met before you, they all came in here with a clipboard, notes, iPads, and they went through and they measured things, and they made fun of my duct taped hot water heater. And they told me my windows were outdated, and they said all these things. She's like, how are you going to keep your notes? I go, I'm not here to look at your house. I'm here to talk to you and see if there's a solution I can provide to you. And she's like, that's the first time. That's the first time somebody said that. And so I left there again without a contract, without an agreement. And I just said, if I can help you, let me know. And I left. She called me 2 weeks later and she said, I met with 15 people before you and 15 people after you. And you're the only person that asked me about what I'm going to do if you buy the house, and what's my life look like, and more importantly, how you could help. Nobody out of 30 people that met me at my house. And I go, if they're all doing it, I wonder if that works. And I have to assume, I have to assume there's been sellers that have been taken advantage of because of that sales tactic. But I appreciate you pointing that out. And I think more importantly, it's not so much future sellers that I want to hear that. It's my students. I want my students to operate in the industry properly and go to sellers and love on them and understand their situation. And go, hey, Sherrilyn has parents she needs to go to. She doesn't have another 90 days to list this house on the market. She needs to get her number, and she needs to get her number now. And we need to figure out as fast as possible. So I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. It reminds me of my first deal I ever did. So
yeah. I'm so happy to do this. And I think that day you even talked about this. And I think you asked me that question then. You said, like, I said, or somehow it came up, and I said, I called you because, that's what it was. I asked you about the sign
oh
on
yeah,
your
I told
cat,
you about the bunnies.
and you told me about the bunnies.
Yeah, that
and
was
that's
Janie.
what it was. And I thought, okay.
Yeah, I left her that night. I left her house at my first appointment. My mom drove to the house and came and helped take Janie's bunnies. And she found somebody in the church to take the bunnies. Janie's like, you're going to take my bunnies and help me with my biggest problem, but you're not going to give me an offer on the house. I said, Janie, the offer you need is higher than what I can afford, but I'm happy to help you regardless. And she's like, are you a robot? This is,
Can we clone
anyway.
you?
Yeah. So a couple other questions. Did you ever at any point, and I want you to be honest here, because you did text me a couple of times, and this is something I want my team to get better at. Were there a couple of times during the last 60 days in this transaction, you were worried that things weren't going as well as you hoped? And what could my team have done a little bit better? And I know you're going to be respectful in the way you answer this, but there's got to be some good feedback here that my team could get a little bit better at.
Well, there were just a couple of times where I didn't know what was going on. Because I really wasn't aware. I thought that the whole fraudulent quitclaim had happened 2 years ago and it was done. And I didn't realize that was a problem. We were going to work with your attorney, and then he went out of town, and there were just a couple of things. I never did get a chance to speak with, was it Miss Eileen? She moved out of the picture. So there were
she retired. She retired. Yeah.
Right. She retired. So there were some things that happened, and I just kind of, I just kind of wish I had a little bit more a little bit more frequent updates.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the problem, and maybe they're instructed not to tell me because I'd have panicked.
No, I think that, I had a conversation with my team. So you had Molly, who runs my whole organization, and then I have 6 girls underneath her. Shelly is one of them. And when you sent me a text, which I appreciate, and you said, hey, I need an update. What's going on? I said, oh, dang, let me call Molly. And they're very transaction oriented, like check the box, move on, check the box, move on type of thing, as they need to be. But they also need to understand the bedside manner of making sure that everybody involved in the transaction gets a weekly update, even if it's an email or a text message. It doesn't have to be a phone call, just something,
Yeah, a text or something. Just,
And there was a couple of times where I think you went a few weeks without any communication. And if I'm a seller, I had already been stolen from by a contractor. I'd been taken advantage of through an illegal deed transfer from somebody who took advantage of me. I am dealing with what I'm dealing with my parents in St. Louis, and I've got all these other things going on. Somebody doesn't communicate with me for 2 weeks. I'm going to assume the worst. That's me.
Yeah.
And so the feedback I would say for my team is just, hey guys, weekly updates. Even if there's nothing new to report. Hey, Sherrilyn, hey, Mr. or Mr. Seller, I have no new news. We're moving forward. Everything looks good.
This is where we're at. Yeah.
Nothing's changed since last week is better news than nothing, right?
Right. We're still in it. We're gonna keep going. Yeah. That would have helped me. But again, as soon as I contacted, you were on it, they were on it, and they're, again, the whole operation is just life-changing. It really is.
Thank you.
I mean,
what would you say to a seller? Let's say I'm talking to a seller in the future about subject to taking over their mortgage, or
you tell them, give me a call.
Thank you.
Do what that man tells you.
What's interesting is I'll get, like, on my YouTube channel or other places, I'll get somebody go, oh, that sounds like a scam. You sound like a scam artist. I'm like, You should talk to one of my sellers because it's the opposite. They're like, he got me the number I wanted, exactly what he said he was going to do. And I now am off to the next chapter of my life. What would you say to a seller that's worried about subject to or any of these types of transactions?
I would say Pace is an honest man. He is going to do what he said he would do. And you can believe it. I vouch for him. And he came to my home. He never talked down to me. He was respectful. But the most important thing is that he's a man of integrity. He was honest with me and he did what he said he would do. If he told you he's going to do something, he's going to do it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Go ahead and go put that to rest. That's not an issue. It's going to happen. Even if some stuff comes back from 2 years.
Yeah, 100%. What a funny, I mean, that happens to us all the time where we open escrow, we do a title report and we find these weird things that pop up. It happens to us all the time, but I can imagine how alarmed you were where you're like, I paid an attorney to handle this for me.
Thank you.
How is this still a thing in 2 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something that was anguish 2 years ago is now anguish again. Come on.
Yeah. And you
man.
probably, I'm sure at that point we're like, wait, this whole deal is going to fall apart. You probably felt for a couple of minutes, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh, more than a few minutes. And one of those panic moments was, oh, I gotta call him. I'll just text him. Cause I knew you were going different places, you were doing different things. And it's like, I don't want to bother him, but I need some reassurance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you signed documents today.
I did. Yeah.
I had just signed documents like 45 minutes ago, which is awesome. So we're closing today, funding today, all that kind of stuff. Money's moving around. Good. Do you feel like without this type of transaction, you could have gotten as high of a purchase price as you did? And
no,
more importantly,
either or I would have had to like wait and make some, do some stuff.
Pay commissions and all that kind of stuff.
The yard and all of that stuff. There would have been things that I would have had to do. And I probably, thinking about the stuff that you were saying, I probably would not have. Because I would have had to make concessions for the things that needed to be done. I probably would have. And given my timeline, I'm sure I would have. You know better because you're in the industry.
It's tough. Like I feel like every time I do a subject to or a seller finance transaction, I pay, I don't even think I negotiated price with you at all.
No.
You said, here's the number I want.
You literally asked me what I wanted. And you said, okay.
Yeah. But on the other side, I gave you the number you wanted. We avoided all these agent commissions and we avoided multiple months of payments and we avoided the landscape costs and all the other things. You avoided all of those expenses. But you on the other side, to give you credit, is that I said, I'm happy to give you that number. All I want for you is let's set it up in a structure that makes sense for me. And I'll give you every last penny that you deserve. And I think it goes back to, here you are, school teacher, you have a limited pension. This is the last big asset that you have.
This is it.
You better darn well get every dollar out of that thing that you possibly can.
And the fact that again, and this is where I think the integrity comes from. You actually see the other person. I wasn't just another transaction or another number or another thing that you're writing on your clipboard, right? No. I'm somebody, like you said, I'm somebody with bunnies. I'm somebody with an issue. I'm somebody with a concern. And the house being the biggest one, because like you said, that's how I'm going to move on. But I may have some other things that are going on. And you are considerate of that. Like you see me, you saw that. This is somebody who has life going on. How can I be a part of helping her move forward in her life, as opposed to somebody who's going to get something from her, to my advantage and the hell with her,
Yeah.
That should not be rare, but I believe it's rare. And I'm just grateful that our paths crossed. I'm glad I called you. The smart thing I did was call you.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And you know, here's the reality too, is that I feel like when you do good business, what ultimately happens is that you'll refer somebody to me in the future.
Absolutely.
If I have a seller that says, I don't know, this seems like a sketchy thing, and they don't like the testimonial I send you of them of you
You
or
got
somebody
my
else.
number in your phone. You say,
Exactly.
give her a call.
It's like, why do people not understand that this is how you compound a really good business? You just treat people properly, right? It's crazy to me. So
Yeah.
last question I have for you.
Sure, sure.
What's next chapter for you? Right? You've now moved on. You're in St. Louis, I believe. What's the horizon look like? Is it unburdened? You feel like you have less of a pain on your shoulders? What are you trying to accomplish now? What's your focus now that the house is not in your way?
I've been retired for 2 years, and what I can do now is to actually live that vision of retirement. I help my sister with a business that she has in Texas. I'm here with my parents. I'm one of 4 children, so it's not all on me, but you know, I have a standard for my parents, and I want to maintain that standard. And so, you know, that's something that's a priority now. My kids are grown and gone. They're adults, so they're doing their own thing. So you know, there comes a time when you have to sometimes even parent your parents. And so I just want to make sure that that is set, that they're set up. And I want to do some traveling. I want to do some
Yes.
traveling. I want to see, there's a whole lot of world out there, and I want to see it. And,
I love it.
And there's a beach with a hammock with my name on it.
Yeah. Well, anytime you're in Phoenix or you're in Montana in the summertime, you text me anytime. Let's go grab a bite to eat, come over to the house, say hi to the wife and the kids. And I appreciate the relationship with you. And thank you so much for selling the house to us. We'll keep you updated if you ever have questions about payments or any of that kind of stuff. And obviously you'll receive a monthly payment and all of that kind of stuff, which is awesome. But I appreciate you so much. And thank you for giving me the testimonial, because it helps me do 2 things, maybe 3 things. Number 1, it helps my team who's never in the living room. It helps my team who never gets to talk to the seller,
Right.
understand what we do for a living and how we help so many people. That's number 1. Number 2, it helps my students who are out there learning to do what I do as well, know that we have people out there that are like, look, real estate's not my main game. I don't know what you guys know. I need you to come to the table and help me get out of this situation so I can go focus on the thing that is my main game.
Right, right.
And then lastly, just helping me out with sellers who, you know, this is the first time they've heard of these types of transactions. And the fact that you're willing to share your testimonial means so much to me. And I just want to say thank you so much.
Well, thank you. You are most welcome, and thank you. And again, you have my number. Anybody give you a problem, you give her a call. I will put my book down in the hammock and talk to them right where I am. Thank you. You have, like you said, so well put. You have helped me unburden myself, finish one chapter, and move to the next. And that is everything. That
I appreciate that.
Everything. Thank you. Bless.
Well, prayers to your parents, prayers to your dad. Hopefully he's on the mend after his stuff. And thank you again. And I'm sure I'll see you soon. Next time you're in Phoenix or next time you're in Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
when
you've
it's
never
not
been to
115
Montana.
degrees.
Oh yeah. We're flying there tonight. I haven't been home in 2 months, and we're flying there tonight. And I'm like, why are we going home tonight? Why don't we wait like 2 more months? But
thank you.
When you're there in the wintertime, you hit me up and we'll go grab some food, okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bless you. Thank God for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.